with family and friends? How do we keep functioning, living well enough to care for ourselves and those who depend on us? There is fear about fundamental safety. I will never forget when my husband came home unexpectedly. He was despondent, crushed, frightened. The new management of the company he founded had fired him. I spent about an hour trying to comfort him, assuring him that we would figure it out. We had 3 little kids at the time. Then I had to drive into town and lead a stress management workshop for 50 nurses. This is what we do. We keep doing what must be done. We must face difficult news, uncertainty, and keep making the bed and doing the dishes and caring for our dependents when our hearts are heavy and there is fundamental fear. Will the floor still be there when we go to step out of bed in the morning? How do we ground ourselves? Like a ship on choppy, stormy seas, we must put down the anchor. As the ship is being tossed on the rough seas, the anchor passes through the rough water and passes through the deeper, more silent waters until it finds bedrock. So what are your anchors? What is your bedrock? We can start by feeling the trauma of our hearts and hear the cacophony of our own runaway minds. These are the rough seas. There really is a storm. We can learn to anchor ourselves in the finite quality of this moment right now. For the next few minutes, I am safe. I'm breathing. I can come to my senses. What do I see? What do I hear? What do I smell? What do I feel? To find my feet is to find my footing, to take a stand. Sometimes we must just take a refuge in the mundane, to keep moving deliberately. Our sitting, resting with the senses fully open, the senses can be the anchors. I can feel my feet. So right now we have set aside time to rest and drop the energy we need from the world in order to carry on. We remember we have friends and allies. We are not alone in this. We are more than this current trauma and fear. Who else are we? We can include our strength and resolve. We can remember the strength and resolve of those we care about. We can also work with an image that can feed us. If you like, we can take a minute or two to begin that right now. You can stay with the simplicity of your own senses, or if you like, you can use your imagination and call to mind the image of a mountain or a sturdy tree with deep roots. Both the mountain and the tree are firmly connected to the earth. The tree draws up nutrients and water from the earth. The tree's roots grow deeper into the earth, growing around the rocks and all the other obstacles, seeking out what the tree needs. The mountain is solid and firm. The breezes, the clouds, the rain, and the storms pass over. The movement of the light and the shadows, the sense of the woods, the sounds. There is stability in the firm connection to the earth. As we sit or lie or stand here, we can sense the air on our skin. We can feel our breath enter and leave our bodies. We can smell and hear. The sense of touch is always present. We feel the work of gravity, the weight of our bodies supported, dependable. We are present now. In this moment, it's so simple, this rest. There's nothing to do. There is nothing to create. And there's nothing to fix. It's so good to know we can use our senses and our felt experience of living in our bodies to ground and restore ourselves. The image of the mountain and the tree are always available. So when we get up from this rest, we can be fully embodied and notice what we see and hear and feel. This can anchor us during stormy times. We can do the dishes and feel the slipperiness of the soapy water. We can make the beds and know that creating the simple order, these mundane tasks, can ground us. This is where we live. So as you are ready, you can open your eyes if they've been closed and notice what you can see and hear and feel. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Rhonda, for inviting us to let our mundane tasks like doing the dishes anchor us, even and especially in uncertainty, and remind us really how strong and resolute we are and the people around us are. Calling in from Brooklyn, Yehudah is an activist, an organizer, a leader in the Jews of Color Caucus of Jews for Racial and Economic Justice, and he's also a dear friend. Yehudah, if you would unmute yourself, hitting *6. Hi.
Hi. Thank you. Thank you. Peace and blessings, everyone. Very honored for the opportunity to offer and share with you all this afternoon what keeps me going week to week, and what element in my life allows me to find time to do those dishes and make the bed, even though the moment feels and is truly so urgent. This past summer, I had felt the pain of what it felt like many mainstream Jewish communities turning its back on me and our Black and Jewish brothers and sisters, while also experiencing the true power of real allyship and love. It was sometime in July, after the Movement for Black Lives policy platform was released, and after many white Jews and Jewish organizations had already publicly announced their opposition to national racial justice movements in response to the policy platform naming Israel as engaging in apartheid and genocide. After all of that had happened, the Jews of Color Caucus, housed within Jews for Racial and Economic Justice, came together. I remember it clearly. It was a Sunday morning when we gathered, and I feel like we didn't even speak for about 15 minutes. We were so distraught. See, on the one hand, many of us felt the pain our fellow white Jews were expressing in their outrage at the very least inflammatory language in the policy platform. And on the other hand, we felt deep betrayal that many of our white Jewish brothers and sisters were so quick to turn their backs on the racial justice movements we need them to be a part of. That many of our white Jewish sisters and brothers were so quick to forget there are Black folks that are a part of the Jewish community and therefore also a part of their universe of obligation. I know that day I felt quite isolated from the broader white Jewish community and kind of hopeless in many ways. And after so much needed processing and love, the Jews of Color Caucus, we got to work. We decided now more than ever we need to organize and show to the world that there are Jews that are committed to Black liberation. There are Jews willing to risk for Black lives, willing to have brave dialogue when opinions are at odds. And so we planned for actions in the month of August. And at the last action, hundreds of white Jews showed up for Black lives. I remember leading the community in chants and songs, and the overwhelming feelings and emotions that washed over me as hundreds of my people, our people, loudly and proudly affirmed that Black lives really do matter, that my life matters. It's this power of community that was at that rally that keeps me going. That true allyship and solidarity I felt deep in my bones as I listened to my white Jewish community shout over and over, Black Lives Matter. It was in that moment that it really clicked for me that this movement is bigger than any one of us. We have communities of folks at our backs, as Rhonda was saying, doing the work, ready to risk for us when we need. So it's this power of community and love that keeps me going week to week. Because I know I have the entire community at my back. And because of that, I know I could also make time to do the dishes. Thank you all. Wishing everybody strength and love going into this week.
Yehudah, thank you so much for sharing such a personal and stepping into vulnerability to teach us about the power of community and your experience, and share with us the power not only of showing up, but being shown up for, and being a part of something bigger than oneself. May this week, may we feel grounded not only in the earth, but in one another, so that we can continue both to do the dishes and to show up and receive what it feels like to be shown up for. Thank you all for calling in today. In closing, please do post a picture of where you're at, who you're with on the Facebook group, and I look forward to being with you again next week. Thanks so much.